The cause of the Moretown school flooding wasn't a clogged drain or 15 clogged drains. There's at least 15 around the school from a sled or anything else covering it. It was that this watershed flowed right at the school because of at least 2 to 3 unmaintained and failed culverts. That kicked up this creek. That creek overflowed, it overwhelmed those culverts, and that creek went to the lowest place it could go, which is the school. And you can see they issued a emergency statement for everyone to pick up their kid at school because it's starting to flood. So I just dropped them off.
Hear that? From my speaker.
Your school's towed. Fire station. One of the lowest buildings in the town. Now here's the water that flooded the school. It's the excess after it jumped out of the Fox Farm Road Creek, which is to the right up here, due to 2 mostly buried culverts filled in up above this. This is the 3rd culvert below that's totally rusted out, which could have taken some of the water away from the school to the right there, to that main channel, which is where it should be flowing, could have easily been flowing. So in blue is the natural water course and where it normally flows, where it intersects that dotted path there, Fox Farm Run. The red is where it jumped out and went right towards the school. Here's the last failed culvert that was very old, very rusted out, which could have taken some of the water and sent it away from the school. The watershed size of this brook that flooded the school is about 160 acres. It's very, very steep. It moves a lot of water, especially in frozen ground. It needs to be taken seriously. So here's a couple days later, back at the school, and this is a drainage swale right here around the playground. The playground is feet higher than the school. 2 to 4, depending where. The school is the absolute lowest point in this entire landscape. It even comes down from the west, it comes down from the south, obviously down from the east. And to the north, actually, is the only place there's any positive drainage. But a ton of water comes straight from the east. And then in this event, we had all this water that came out of this drainage, this watershed, came here. You can see all the silt. So all of that came from there into the school instead of going the other side of this road right here. And that's what a functioning large enough culvert over there would have allowed for. And we'll take a look at that culvert again. I wonder if they replaced it in the last couple days. It's amazing that that wasn't addressed during this huge drainage project that just happened. I mean, that would be like the first thing to do because that's where the most acute water flow would come from, is this whole drainage. This is the largest potential source of quick water, and along with that one, but this one was way bigger than that little drainage right there in the field. And you could see the competence of this flow was high. That means how big of a material it can move. You know, there's 5-inch cobbles right there. So it was moving quickly, and it's not a high grade. Okay, so the culvert's still here. I can't believe that this wasn't the starting point for keeping that school drier. I mean, it's in a terrible spot. It's in the lowest point in the whole landscape, minus like down in that wetland. The school needs to be raised up if it's going to really avoid flooding over and over and over again, at least a few feet. But if you're band-aiding it, at least start with the highest leverage opportunity, which is, I mean, I'm amazed it's not even, I think they would fix this right off the bat. I mean, this has been failing for decades. So not much water went into there. All this water basically went here and flowed straight towards the school. And no amount of drains are going to keep up with that, especially in snow and ice and kid spaces where they're going to leave things
out on top of the drain, and especially if no one's checking those drains right before a storm and during a storm. Yeah, so this watershed just pumped right into the school. All of this water coming down here, here, and up there. We can map it and see how many acres it is. Went straight at the school. No matter how many drains they have there, it's not going to keep up with such a large flow. So hopefully there's a culvert here. Yeah, there's one. There should be a very large culvert in here going this way, and then that culvert as well. And it looks like this culvert hasn't been maintained. It's not dug out at all. So there's this culvert. There's two of them. One is quite large, but it's 2/3 buried, and the smaller one is half buried. So there was very little capacity here compared to what there should be. If those culverts were maintained, we would have been seeing a lot less water over there as well. I mean, they're moving all the water right now in this non-storm situation. Yeah, there's a full-on creek here. Wow, so what happened was the excess flow of this creek, there's two failures happened here. This culvert failed, was overwhelmed because it hasn't been maintained. And then the backup, what would be a backup culvert, failed, which had already failed for many years. And what is actually not a small watershed, but a full-on creek went at the school. This entire creek went to the doorstep of the Moretown school, and that became a lake. And no amount of pumping and draining is gonna fix that if we can't keep all of this water going where it should be going, which is into this wetland. And once water's in this wetland, it's safe. I mean, that's the natural drainage. We'll see where it goes. It must go under a big culvert to get under 100 through that neighborhood.